The WWE released a total of 74 wrestlers in 2021, and in today's video we're going to take a look at every person that was fired and see what they're up to right now. Samoa Joe was released on April 15th after not being used because of multiple injuries that he suffered. Triple H was so upset with the release that he rehired him a month later and even made him the NXT champion, defeating Karrion Kross. Samoa Joe did get injured again and has been seen on TV since September. Let's just hope that he stays healthy when he does make his comeback to WWE. In the beginning of 2021, the pandemic saw a high number of cases, and Vince McMahon reportedly released Steve Cutler immediately upon finding out that he attended an NYC party. He's currently wrestling in the Indies as well as Impact Wrestling. Towards the ending of 2020, the WWE is planning to build Lars Sullivan as their next big monster, despite the amount of heat he attracted through social media. Due to his battles with anxiety, he was released by the WWE in February of 2021, and Sullivan hasn't been wrestling since his release. Andrade was unhappy with his booking, and the creative team had no plans for him, and he spent a majority of his time sitting in catering, and because of this, he asked the WWE for his release and it was granted. Andrade quickly joined AEW and is becoming a big piece of the company's future. After his tag team partner was released, the WWE really had no other plans for Wesley Blake, and he was released a couple months later in April. He has not been seen in the professional wrestling world since, which indicates that it might be the end for his wrestling career. Bo Dallas was also released on April 15th after being absent from WWE TV for over a year. Even though he managed to make the most out of all the gimmicks he was given, the WWE struggled to utilize him in a serious manner. Bo has not appeared in any other wrestling promotion. WWE released Kalisto on April 15th because they really weren't using him at all, and since then he did show up on the November 3rd episode of AEW Dynamite. It seems like he's going to work the indies until he finds a permanent home. Tucker turned on his former partner at Hell in a Cell in 2020, transforming his entire character. This change led to nothing, and the WWE would later let him go a few months later in April. Again, he has not wrestled since. Despite never appearing on WWE TV, the company extended Green's contract for another 3 years before deciding to ultimately fire her in 2021. Chelsea Green has wrestled in Ring of Honor and is currently working with Impact right now. After returning to WWE in 2016, the company released Mickie James, ending her 5-year comeback. She's been busy working with the NWA as well as Impact Wrestling. Both members of the Iconics were fired on April 15th because Kevin Dunn reportedly did not like their accent or he didn't get their gimmicks. Royce and Billy Kay even admitted to never wanting to split up as they felt like they better fit together. They are currently the Women Tag Team Champions on Impact as the Inspiration. Duke was released on May 19th. She made her last appearance on WWE TV in August 2020 on Raw Underground. She hasn't been wrestling anywhere ever since. Santana Garrett was a veteran in the independent scene for a long time before signing with WWE. However, she didn't last too long and was released in June. She's currently employed with AEW. Another wrestler released on June 2nd is Ruby Riott. She was never really given a proper chance to succeed in WWE. Thankfully though, she's had a fun run in AEW. Lana was released along with the other women on June 2nd, and she isn't signed with any company right now, but I have a feeling that we will see her with Miro and AEW soon. Buddy Murphy being released was really shocking. I really thought that he was the perfect guy that WWE wanted. He had the physique, the wrestling ability, and could cut a decent promo. It was sad to see him go, but Buddy Matthews is currently working with New Japan right now. Aleister Black's release might have been the most ridiculous one, because after being sidelined for many months, he finally came back to start a program with Big E, costing him the IC Championship, and then he was fired. Aleister Black joined AEW and is one of the more interesting characters in wrestling right now. Braun Strowman being fired was extremely odd considering that he was in a WWE title match the month before his release. He's also been one of WWE's main event players for a few years now. Strowman wrestled one match against EC3 since, but hasn't signed with any company. I feel like he's going to return to WWE sometime soon in the future with a more cost-efficient contract for the WWE. The popular duo of Chase Parker and Matt Martell were released from their contracts on June 25th, and they are currently in AEW known as 2.0. Daivari has been with the WWE since 2016, featured as a key piece of 205 Live, but he was released on June 25th and made his AEW debut last month. Tony Nese is another 205 Live star that also had so much more potential, but he was released on June 25th and is currently wrestling in AEW, and so far it seems like Tony Khan likes him a lot and will book him to be a big star. Arturo Ross signed with WWE in 2016 and made some appearances sporadically on NXT and Raw Underground, but other than that, he wasn't really seen on TV too much. He made his AEW debut on AEW Dark in October of this year. Fandango was released on June 25th and currently wrestles in the independent circuit under the name of Dirty Dongo. His longtime tag team partner was also released with him on the same day, and Tyler Breeze is not wrestling right now, but he has opened up a wrestling school to help the youth of professional wrestling. The Bollywood Boys were released on June 25th, and they have not been active in any other promotion. WWE released MARINA SHAFIR on June 25th as well, and she actually just made her AEW Dark debut recently, and it looks like she could be signing with them soon. August Gray was released on June 25th. CURT STALLION was released on June 25th as well. The last person to be released on June 25th is KILLIAN DAIN. With NXT shifting their focus on the future of the brand, it was no surprise to see him being released. I always thought that he was so talented, but it was obvious that the main roster was never going to properly use him. DAIN hasn't returned to the wrestling world, and we don't know if he will. July 31st was the most shocking release that I have ever seen. The WWE fired Bray Wyatt. The Fiend being released was their worst decision of 2021. He was a true full-time star right behind Roman Reigns. Wyatt is currently working on a horror movie, and I still think he's going to end up in AEW. I'm predicting that winter is coming is when he will make his debut. Ric Flair asked for his release, and it was granted on August 3rd due to poor booking decisions for his character. He was unhappy with what the WWE was doing. It was rumored that he was going to appear in AEW, but that fell through after the scandal from the plane ride from hell came up. WWE released Bobby Fish on August 6th, and he was quickly signed by Tony Khan. Bronson Reed was rumored to have a big push for WWE, but he was released on August 6th, and however though, the talented big man found some work in New Japan and Impact. Mercedes Martinez is a veteran in the business that had the potential in WWE, but unfortunately she was released and has returned to Impact Wrestling. Tyler Russ was released on August 6th, and he was currently last working for Ring of Honor. KONA REEVES was released on August 6th. Leon Ruff was also released on August 6th, but he recently made his GCW debut. Former NXT referee STEPHON Smith was also released on August 6th. WWE released Jake Atlas the same day, and he appeared in a Ring of Honor special and announced his retirement shortly after due to mental health reasons. Ari Sterling was released on August 6th. WWE released Desmond Troy in August as well. Zachariah Smith was released on August 6th. WWE released Asher Hale in August. Giant Zongier was released on August 6th. All of the wrestlers released on November 4th are currently on a 90-day no-compete clause. Therefore, I decided to keep them in one section together because they aren't in any other wrestling promotion. The list of wrestlers fired on this day include Keith Lee, Karrion Kross, Nia Jax, Ember Moon, Eva Marie, Mia Yim, Harry Smith, Lindsay Dorado, Grand Metalik, Jeet Rama, Katrina Cortez, Trey Baxter, Zeta Ramir, Jesse Camia, B-Fab, One Lorcan, Frankie Monet, and Scarlett Bordet. The same thing applies to the wrestlers that were released a couple weeks later on November 18th. The wrestlers fired on this day consist of Ashante Adonis, Top Dollar, Drake Maverick, John Morrison of all people, Tegan Knox, Jackson Riker, and Shane Thorne. And that is every WWE wrestler that was released in 2021 and where they are right now. The question is, who else is going to get released in the upcoming year? That is something that we will find out later. Anyways, that is it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on all the releases in the comments below. And on the screen right now are some other videos that you should totally check out if you have some free time. So go ahead and click one of them. I will see you all in the next video.